Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today, Bitcoin clears $50,000. I'm going to explain why that's really good for the altcoins and what we can expect in the altcoin market as Bitcoin confirms a fifth wave. The big thing for me was, do we get confirmation of a fifth wave? And what I mean by a fifth wave is this right here. So basically, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this whole time we were in a wave 4. The thing that I didn't know was, is this starting to range in a distribution range, or are we going up into a fifth wave and then go into a distribution range? We have officially got confirmation that that is the case. Why is that good? Because that sets up another layer of confidence in the altcoin market for the altcoins to catch up to Bitcoin. Because for me, it's not about Bitcoin, it's about the altcoins. But before we talk about that, let's just talk about the short-term price action and what's going on at the moment of the update, okay? So I've been talking about a lot since we were up here of a ABC. So an expanded flat. So you have an A, B, C. I really wanted the C wave to backtest the bull market support band, but it did not happen. But that doesn't mean it's not going to still backtest, because eventually it will. So here's the thing. We have a wave to the upside, right? We have a wave to the upside that took out this high, right? And it also took out this high. So now we can say unequivocally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's the problem though for the Bitcoin people who are thinking, oh, we're gonna go up, 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 up. That could be true, and I hope it's true. But let's talk about the elephant in the room: the bearish divergence that's forming, the bearish pattern that's potentially forming, the ending of a fifth wave, right? And now a lot of people are bullish, and I am incredibly bullish. So I'm not trying to rain on the bullish party. I'm just saying, hey, look, Bitcoin is at its sort of ending phase here. Of course, it can get higher, right? It can always go higher. And I think it has a good possibility of doing that. But let's talk about this right here. So look, we have 1, 2, 3. This is called 3 drives to the high. Now we can go up even higher, right? Because look, you can see the price hasn't quite hit the line yet. So if you look right here, you want to see the price hit that line. If we can break that line, oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Then the 3 drives gets taken out. But also the bearish divergence will also get taken out, because you can see right here, the price is going up, price is going up, RSI going down, up, down. What is that? That's bearish divergence. Why is that important? Because it's telling us, hey, the strength compared to the price, even in relation to volume, is not adding up, and it's diverting from each other. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It doesn't mean like, oh, we're going to crash. Divergence is just one indicator over many indicators, right? So here's a good example right here. And I talked about this so many times, this area right in here, as far as distribution and how it relates to what we're doing now. And it's kind of funny, if you caught the blockchain backer video he put out, he actually finally talked about it. But yeah, I was saying, look, this distribution area is so reminiscent, right? And here's why. Well, number one, I'm comparing it to the altcoins in order for, like, for example, THETA to catch up. THETA, or pick any altcoin, right? THETA didn't really moonshot until Bitcoin got way up here, right? Once Bitcoin got up here, that's when THETA did the moonshot. So it wasn't until Bitcoin went into its distribution that's when it happened. But moreover, I'll talk about that. We have what? 3 drives to the high. So 1, 2, 3, right? And you can see this candle didn't even make it back up to here, right? So just to show you real quick, you have this price going up and you have the RSI going down, right? So that's bearish divergence. And what happened? We broke down. Is that going to happen again? I don't think so. I don't think so. At least not for a while. Why do I say that? Well, let's go back and I'll show you. I believe that the altcoins have to catch up. How are they going to catch up? Well, what is the environment needed for the altcoins to catch up? It needs, number one, Bitcoin to go into retracement. Bitcoin to hit the 618. Bitcoin to be above the bull market support band. And more importantly, if you go back to this area here, the whole thing for me was, do we break this high? Are we going to range in here? Or are we going to break this high? Clearly, we broke the high. That's good. That's what we want. So what does that mean? That confirms what I was talking about right here, which is what? The expanded flat, which is what? Which is an A, B, C. I was hoping the C wave can come down and backtest the bull market support band. It did not. But what really is the important thing is that this confirmed a fourth wave. Why is that important? Because if it was 3, it would be corrective. If it's 5, that means it's trending, it's impulsive, and that's what we want. So what do we have? We have, without a doubt, 1, 2. This is 3. This is 4. And now we're going into 5. Now the big question becomes, where does the 5th wave stop? Does it continue higher? And there's a couple different ways you can count that. So I'm gonna talk about the analysis part, the sort of where we are part, but then I'm gonna sort of tie it together to the altcoins on why it's so incredibly bullish and important that Bitcoin continue to stay in this range. Look, to put it simple, as long as Bitcoin is above the bull market support band, we are rocking and rolling. The danger part is if Bitcoin really rallies high, then it has much further potential to fall. But more than that, the bull market support band starts to go up increasingly high. And we kind of don't want that. We kind of want the bull market support band to sort of gradually move up. Because if it starts moving up quickly, and then Bitcoin pulls back quickly, then we can easily lose that support. So what I'm saying here is, as long as Bitcoin is in this range, the altcoins are incredibly bullish, right? So just real quick, if I put up here, this range right in here, right, we can kind of compare the difference. Okay, so I put up another chart, which is the price of theta, just to show you real fast, okay? So you can see right here, the price of theta is going flat, 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 flat. It wasn't until the price of theta got all the way to right there. That was the breakout of theta. That was the massive explosion move of theta, not just theta, but many other altcoins. Okay, so where was Bitcoin during that time? What did Bitcoin do during that time? Well, look at this. Bitcoin was already at the tippy top. So Bitcoin's been going up, right? Up, 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 up. Done. It's done. It's over. So now Bitcoin is done. It's going up, down, up, down, up, down, right? It's in distribution. That is when the price of theta caught up. When? When Bitcoin was already done. So what do we want? We want Bitcoin to go up, which it has done. And then what do we want? Then we want Bitcoin to go sideways. Just like here. We went up, we went sideways. And what happened to theta? Theta was going sideways, and then it shot up, and it massively came up there, right? So where is Bitcoin at the moment? Bitcoin is still moving up. So we don't know where the range is, right? That's a good problem to have. That's a really, really, really good problem to have. Why? Because then that tells me that not only is the range have yet to be established, but Bitcoin is also in a fifth wave, right? So now granted, we still are in a retracement level, but if you sort of compare, right, look at the difference here. Let me draw that here. You can see here it was flat. And then once Bitcoin got to this yellow zone, it instantly shot up. Okay, so here we go again. Bitcoin's climbing up just like it was here. Altcoins going flat. Now it's potentially, maybe not, right? Maybe it has to go even higher. Maybe the yellow zone's up here, right? Or a little higher. We don't know, right? So once Bitcoin establishes the range, let me take everything off the screen because it's getting a little cluttered here. And I'll put this probably around here, right? And then we have this one here too. So if we can get up here, right, pull back down, pull back up, and sort of range in here, that's what we want. Because that will allow the altcoins to catch up. Now, what's better than that? Of course, if Bitcoin breaks out into a new all-time high, right, then that would be the best, obviously, that would be the best case scenario, right? So do I think it's going to break out into a new all-time high? It's really hard to know. It's really hard to know. I would love nothing more. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think so. At least not right now. Because obviously, if you follow my channel, you know what my main idea here is. And that is phases. I go by phases, right? So we have a bull phase. We have a bear phase. We have a retracement phase. And then eventually we go down into a reaccumulation phase and sort of reaccumulate. And then we go to a new bull run. So that's my primary idea. Okay? Now, I would jump up and down being overly joyed and happy to be wrong, right? Now, a lot of people, when we were down here, thought we were going to straight to 10K. But if I wasn't making videos at the time, but I was in Discord saying, no, that's not what's happening, right? Obviously, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had bearish divergence between the 4th and the 5th. And when we were down in here, we were creating a Wyckoff accumulation. So I said, no. We're going into a retracement. And that's exactly what happened. So now Bitcoin is at its retracement levels. The big question is, this is the big thing. Do we break through the retracement level into a new all-time high? Chances are no. Why do I say that? Because usually when you have a retracement, you know, if you started from here, so here's the very bottom, right? We're going up. Nothing just goes up, right? No, it doesn't work that way. If we go up, we got to come down, then go sideways, then go up. And it's kind of like a cup and a handle, right? Something like that. Now, you could say, well, how's that good for the altcoins? Well, it's good because, number one, Bitcoin hasn't broken out yet completely, right, out of a new all-time high. But more important than that, we're still trying to figure out where Bitcoin's going. You can see we're bullish. We're going up. So we don't know where the range is yet. One of the examples I had was Bitcoin is already completed, right? And this was the retracement level. So I was thinking, okay, one of the ideas here was this was the range here. But you can clearly see, right, we broke above this range. And I said it's probably a good possibility because if you look at the weekly chart, look at this, and you take the resistance line and you sort of make a range out of it, you can see this was last week's candle right here, and you can see that was a massive bullish engulfing candle that closed massively above all these other candles. So it makes sense that now this week's candle has follow through. So, so what does all this mean? Where do I think Bitcoin is going? Well, I'll tell you right now. Let's go down to the 16-hour chart. Let's get rid of that. And like I've said before, going back over here, this is an ABC, right? So what is that? That's a fourth wave. So what is that? That means we're in the fifth wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're in 5. Okay, here's the question. Where does 5 end? There's a couple ways you can count this, right? So let me zoom in even further. Let's go down to the 2-hour chart. Okay, so I can count this a couple different ways. Number one, you can say, hey, this, so, you know, at the moment, this could just be an A, B, and a C, which is totally possible, right? And what does that mean, right? One of the ideas that I had was that this is a WXY. That could still totally happen. And it's probably wouldn't surprise me one bit, because why? We didn't test the bull market support band. I still believe we're going to test it. And now look at the angular motion of the bull market support band. It's pointing up, which is really good, right? So, idea number one. Let's just simplify it, because I like to jump around a lot. But you know, ever watch those series on Netflix or TV shows where you have the plot, right, and then it kind of jumps over here, then it goes over here, but then at the very end it all ties together and makes sense? That's kind of my style. You know, I'm not really a linear guy where I like to say, okay, this is it, you know, in a straight line, like a lot of content creators do. And, you know, it sort of makes more sense. But for me, I kind of like to bounce around so that when I get to the end, it sort of paints a picture, right? Okay, so idea number one. This is an A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. And that would be what? That would be W, X, and a Y. So that's idea number one. Now, just because it's idea number one doesn't mean it's more powerful. In no particular order, right? No particular order. This would be idea number one. So a WXY. Now, the X wave can continue to go a little bit higher, right? So when does this not turn into a WXY? Well, it's the way you count it. So for example, this could be counted a couple different ways. 1, 2, 3, 4 with an extended fifth. That's an extended fifth. And in the fifth wave, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're getting close to the end. And then also keep in mind, $50,000 is a round psychological number. It's a take profit number, but it's also a FOMO number, because think about it. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, the mainstream media, the radio, the social media, 50K, 50K, it's being spewed out. And what that means is it's not 40K, it's not 60K, you know, it's 50K. 50K is like, it's right in the middle, right? It's not only a round psychological number, but it's also right in the middle between 100, right? So 50K people are seeing that headlines across the world. So that's going to give what? Probably FOMO to the market. But is it going to go into Bitcoin, or is it going to play a role into the market makers' strategic moves, which is distribution, where, you know, most of the people made money in Bitcoin already, right? And, you know, in order to make money in Bitcoin, you would have had to have bought 13 months ago, right? So 13 months ago, that's where the money was to be made. Now you're getting into higher risk, which is fine, but not for Bitcoin. I mean, I would go obviously with the altcoins, not financial advice, by the way. Anything I say is not financial advice. Always remember, I could be totally wrong. So these are just opinions, and take it as you will. So going back to the chart, a better way to count this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1. 3-way pullback. That's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3. That's 4. ABC pullback, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And if you hear some banging in the background, that's because we're repairing our whole roof. We had some massive rain in California, and we had a couple leaks there and there. So the workers are on top of the roof, taking all the tile out, replacing the wood underneath, and then they're gonna put that fabric material, and then they'll put the tile back on. So like when there's a fire and the helicopters bring the water, it kind of looks like a big sack, right? It's a big sack of water. That material can hold thousands of pounds, and that's the material that they're using for the underlining of the roof. So when you talked about it, I never knew that. So yeah, so they're getting the roof done. Hopefully it doesn't take that much time, but if you hear the noise in the background, that's probably why. So this would be my best case scenario here, which is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So hopefully we get that. Hopefully we get that fifth wave, right? Now, so this is idea number 2. So what's idea number 3? Well, idea number 3 is to say that we are creating the range just like we did here, and it's called 3 drives to the high, right? So I actually talked about this many times going back weeks, and it was kind of funny. Today I actually seen it on Blockchain Backer's channel that he was talking about this little range in here and comparing it to the range we see now. But hey, you know what? If you saw my channel, you would have already known that. I'm just kidding. No, but I love the guy. He's an amazing YouTuber, and he deserves much more credit than he's given. Great guy. Blockchain Backer, definitely subscribe to his channel. But anyway, I was talking about this pattern over here and saying, hey, and I was also comparing it to the altcoins, right? And saying, like, for example, the price of THETA didn't moon until we got to this range. So there's a lot of different reasons why you would compare it. And one of the big reasons was obviously the distribution, but also this right here. So you have 3 drives to the high. 1, 2, 3. And you sort of makes a high, comes up, barely makes another high, barely makes another high. You have this 3 drives to the high. Now if you come down here and put the RSI, you can see clearly the RSI is going down, right? It's going down while the price is going up. That was bearish divergence, right? So that would be idea number 3. Is that what's happening now? And it could also be a mixture of different ones, right? So let me put the RSI back. So you could see it's kind of the same thing happening. You have 1, 2, 3. So 3 drives. And then you come back down. The thing that I like here is that on the 4-day chart, it's pretty strong. But if I go down, well, first of all, if I go to the weekly chart, you have plenty of room. You have plenty of room, right? I could see it coming, kind of doing like this, right? And creating that divergence, which gives us more time, right? But then if you go to the 2-day chart, check this out. The 2-day chart, we're starting to potentially take that divergence out, at least some of it. So you can see right here. Here's the top. Here's the second part, right? So 1, 2, 3. But look at the third one. The third one is actually getting met with the second one, which is actually good because that's telling me it's potentially taking out that divergence. Now, do I think a correction's coming? Oh yeah, I think a correction's coming. Like I said, we're at a 50,000 psychological number. Now, going back to the lower time frames, I talked about idea number 1, idea number 2, and now idea number 3, right? And so going back to idea number 2, which this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's talk about that. So right now, right, we're potentially in the third wave. So there's a couple different ways you can interpret this wave, right? You can say that this right here, right, we're still not even near it, right? So this would be 1, 2. You could say this is 3, 4, 5, or, right, we haven't even made the third wave yet. So it would be something like this, where the third wave hasn't even came in yet. And that's very, very possible, right? Because if, you know, the third wave, you want to count 5, and I'm not going to sit here and try to count all these sub microwaves because it really doesn't mean too much. But, you know, looks like you got a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, so maybe we're at that fourth wave, or yeah, the end of the third wave now, somewhere up in here, maybe a little bit higher, right? So then if you want to get even more technical, what we can do is count even the fifth wave, right? The fifth of the fifth of the third. The fifth of the fifth of the third, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5, right? So now if I zoom in even, I never ever do this, but just for fun, let's go even further down. You could say that now this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get one more high, the fifth, right? And that would probably mark wave 3. Maybe, maybe not. It's the more you zoom in, the more complicated it gets. That's why I never do that, right? But just for fun. We want to see, and why is this important? Because we want to see where this thing's gonna top out at, right? And now the higher the better. I don't mind it going higher, but don't expect your altcoin to fly up to the moon, because right now it's Bitcoin's turn, right? Bitcoin has the spotlight. Bitcoin moves first, right? We all know that. I mean, just to reiterate, right? If I zoom out, you could see, look at the altcoins. They're going flat. Look at Bitcoin. It's going up. So basically, the altcoins have to wait until Bitcoin stops. But Bitcoin isn't stopping. It's continuing to go up. Like I said, it's a good problem. It's a good problem to have. So, so my primary idea here, to in conclusion, is this. I'll tell you this right here. So basically, we have a one-off situation where we can get Bitcoin, you know, to test the bull market support band, come down, test it. If we get out and break out, then what would that be? That would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And that would be a big advantage for the alts, because as it consolidates, that's when the alts would catch up. So my thinking here is this. You can see the price of Bitcoin on the top. You can see the price of THETA on the bottom. Look how sad and depressing this is, right? That's what you want. You want it to be like that. So my thinking here is wherever Bitcoin tops out at, it could be now, it could be higher up, it could be a pullback, then another higher up. It really depends, right? It sort of made it a little difficult because Bitcoin broke out. But again, like I said, it's a good problem to have. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Let's say we get up here somewhere. I don't know where we're gonna get up to, right? It's very hard to tell where that fifth wave can pop up. I can do a little bit of a Fibonacci analysis. Check this out. If I take this here from the top of this wave, right, to the bottom of this wave, I mean, we already hit the 1618. Look at that. Well, let's see, not quite. Let me zoom in here and do a little bit more of a thorough analysis on this wave to see where exactly we can top out at. So let me try to get it as close as I can. This one right about there. Okay, so yeah, we hit this. Look at that. Look at that. Let me take that off. Look at that. We hit this. We hit the 1618. So this is a good take profit zone. I might even maybe enter a little short. I don't know. Don't do it. Don't ever. You know. Don't ever follow anybody's analysis, or I'm sorry, don't even follow anybody's trading signals unless you have it to be your own strategy. So here's the thing. Let's go to the 4-hour chart to make it more simplified. So we're getting rejected. Look at that, right at the 1618. Perfect. Look at that. Boom. Boom. So this is a good area. This is a good area. This is a potential topping area here. So I think it's over. I don't mean it's over, but in the meantime, at least probably for the next 24, 48 hours, it's probably statistically likely that it's topped, at least for the time being. Why do I say that? Because look at the Fibonacci. Right? If I take this wave, if this is a trending wave, which I think it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you take it from the bottom of the first all the way up to the fifth, and then you pull it back to the pullback, right? We hit that 1618. So let me actually put a line right there. Right about there. Okay, and I'll get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, so now going from here, a couple of different things can happen. Number one, we get an A, B, C. Maybe not that big, right? And then we get another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That, my friends, would be a sort of another type of 3 drives to the high, right? But if we can get this to this wave to totally extend from this wave, then it wouldn't be so much a 3 drives to the high. I know there's a fractal there from the previous structure, so you can put it like this, line it up with there, and then put it like that. So drawing that again, it would be like this. So like an A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it wanted to be kind of bearish, stuck in a range, which is, well, again, fine. We want it to sort of range. The faster Bitcoin can top, the faster it can range. The faster it ranges, the faster altcoins can catch up. The faster altcoins catch up, the happier my portfolio is. And I don't know about you, but it's definitely wanting and needing a big fat pump, at least for, let's look at total 3, for example. Take everything off. Let me get up to the 4-day chart. So Bitcoin is sitting at the 618, right, of its entire retracement move. So right about there. right? So let me take that off. So Bitcoin is up here. The altcoins are down here. So at some point, right, when Bitcoin stops projecting up and it starts ranging, that's when we can see a big catch up in the altcoins. So I think that's coming very, very fast. And the reason why I say that also is because look how bullish the altcoins are. I mean, enough about Bitcoin, who cares, right? But I was setting the stage for Bitcoin. But I mean, even if you look at THETA, and man, look at THETA, look how beautiful that is. I mean, it's perfect. It's so perfect, I can't even put it into words. I mean, you got to go back and watch my THETA videos if you haven't seen it. Number one, we have a beautiful breakout. Number two, we have Wyckoff accumulation. Number three, we have Bitcoin at the 618. Number four, we have a break above the bull market support band. Number five, we have a back test of the bull market support band. Number six, I think I said it already, but I'll say it again. Wyckoff accumulation, and this from this area, right, to this area, right? Number seven, we have what? A beautiful shoulder, a head, another shoulder in the works, an inverse head and shoulders. Take the measured move, right? That gets us sitting up above $4. So at least a $4 retracement is in the works for THETA. Now, if I pull the retracement and compare it to the price of Bitcoin, I mean, look at this. We're nowhere even close to it. I mean, look at this. Let's go to the 618, right? So where's the 618? It's sitting at $9.85. So if THETA was at $9.85, would you buy it? Probably not. Why would you? If you could buy it right now at $1, why would you then buy it at $9.85? So if that's the case, then why would you buy Bitcoin? Buying Bitcoin is not smart at all, I don't think. I think it's ridiculous. If you want Bitcoin and you want a ton of Bitcoin, the best way to do it is to get in the altcoins, and then when they go into an alt season, then you can rotate it back into Bitcoin, giving you that return on your investment. So again, Bitcoin is sitting way up here. THETA is sitting way down here. So here's sort of the grand finale right here. Okay, this is where I sort of wrap everything all together. Number one, Bitcoin, right, is up here. And as it's up there, it starts to sort of go sideways. Now, of course, it can break out into a new all-time high. It could totally do that. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. Why? Because I'm looking at a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. But before we get into reaccumulation, we have to finish the retracement. And before we go down, we have to go into distribution. So for that, right, let me go back to Bitcoin to show you. And then I will put on THETA. And okay. So whatever this finishes at, right? Let's say something like this occurs right here. And then we come down and we backtest this area, which, by the way, I've been thinking for a very long time. Eventually that's going to happen. And then we sort of go off and break out into new all-time high. So if we're going to break out into a new all-time high, it would look something like that. Okay, so as we're doing this, it's the same as this, right? So let's say, remember in the other videos, I said, if Bitcoin oscillates to the downside, it oscillates to the upside. But we didn't oscillate to the upside. We broke out. So that's different. That's different. Once we come down and establish a range, Then we can start the oscillation period where we oscillate in here. So as we oscillate to the upside, we can get a big move to the upside. Well, first of all, probably a correction coming in, right? So we get a bigger pump, a correction, then we oscillate to the upside, massive, massive pump, right? Then we oscillate to the downside, pull back, oscillate back to the upside, another massive pump. Now we're both neck and neck. Now we're both in the retracement levels. We're both in distribution. Then Bitcoin breaks down, goes into reaccumulation. What does that mean for Theta? Theta has a big ABC. Obviously, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Theta pulls back in an ABC, and then it goes sideways with Bitcoin. Then once Bitcoin breaks out into a new all-time high, that's when sort of Theta, goes sideways a little bit. But then once Bitcoin is finished going into a new all-time high, let's say it gets to 100, 150, 200K, right? We get up here and we start to go sideways a little bit. Then Theta, boom, catches up. And that's sort of my grand thesis, is right there. That's my big idea. Is it going to be right? I have no idea. I'm looking 5, 6, 7 steps ahead. It's hard enough looking 1 step ahead, let alone 2, but I'm looking like 5, 6 steps ahead. So the complexity, the probabilities decrease. But I'm pretty confident in the direction, at least on the macro sense. Now, if Bitcoin breaks out now and goes into a new all-time high, I will be incredibly happy to be wrong. But it's better to be conservative than to be wrong and disappointed, right? If I'm going to be wrong, it's going to be because I'm happy to be wrong. But if I'm overly bullish, then it's going to be a disappointing wrong decision, right? So just to reiterate one last time, and I'll get into the other alts too. Yeah, because now all the headlines for BTC is 50K, 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 right? It's all 50K. So, just to wrap it all together again, because I don't know if I'm making sense to everybody. I don't know, everybody's at a different understanding of analysis, but just again, here's the price of Theta, and I'm just taking Theta as an example. It's all the altcoins that look like Theta, right? So if you look at the price, it's going sideways, and then see this big move to the upside. That's when it happened. That's when the big move happened for Theta, for a lot of the coins, right? So that's what we want, right? You're an altcoin holder. You want altcoins to pump. When does it pump? Well, if you look at Bitcoin, where was Bitcoin? It was in this range. Bitcoin was no longer going up. It was instead in distribution. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Then it comes down. So we have plenty of time, right? The altcoins don't take that long to catch up, right? I mean, look at Theta. It took 20 days. That's it. Theta only needed 20 days, and boom, it was over with. It caught up, and it was completely fulfilled itself, right? So you can see Bitcoin in distribution. Then that's when that's the big misconception. People think in order for the altcoins to go up, Bitcoin needs to go up with it. And no, that's not true. Bitcoin does need to go up, but then it needs to stop going up. And then it needs to go sideways. But more importantly, it needs to find its range, right? It needs to find where the range is, so that when it oscillates from the bottom of the range to the top of the range, that's when you get the big explosive moves to the upside. So if we take that same idea and come back over here, it's the same thing, right? So check, right? We have sideways, check. We have Bitcoin going up. Bitcoin going up. Check, right? Now you could say, well, yeah, Bitcoin went into a new all-time high. You're right, but we're talking about retracement levels. We're not talking about theta going into a new all-time high. All we're saying here is for theta to get back into a retracement level. Okay, so we have check, right? And then what do we have? We have Bitcoin stalling out into a range. We have Bitcoin, we don't know yet, right? Because we just broke out. Now we're at 50K. We don't know where the range is. So we have to wait for Bitcoin to end, pull back, maybe go up a little higher, and then start ranging. And then we can establish our range, right? When we establish our range, now let me put the price of theta back up. And then I'll go like this, right? So you can see Bitcoin goes down, maybe theta goes down a little bit, right? Bitcoin comes up, theta goes way up. That's the big breakout. I think theta breakout is imminent. I think theta breakout is coming in a big way very soon. Not just theta, but a lot of the altcoins, okay? Then, for example, Bitcoin oscillates to the downside, oscillate to the downside. Then we get another pump to the upside. We get a big pump, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that is my grand thesis here. So we need Bitcoin to, obviously I don't want it to stop, right? I want Bitcoin to go up as much as possible. But eventually it's going to stop. And then eventually it's going to come down and touch the bull market support band. It's going to do something like that. Now, what would suck is if Bitcoin comes all the way up and then it crashes fast. Then it doesn't give a lot of time for the altcoins, right? So what we want to see is a clear ranging distribution, right? You can see right here, this was a clear distribution right here. A range before we broke down. So there you go. That's basically it in a nutshell. So what do I think is going to happen? Well, with theta, with the price of theta, look at the price of theta. We have broken above the bull market support band, and even when we were here and here and here and here and here and all in here, I said we're probably got to come down and test it. And now we finally tested it. And look at that. We tested it. How many days did we test it? We tested it for 20 days. That's amazing. So we tested it for 20 days, and now we're starting to pump to the upside. So what could happen with it all? It really depends with Bitcoin, but a couple of different things. You can have an A, B, C go, or this is an A, B, C, an expanded flat, and then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we go. So that's kind of like what it's aiming up to be. So 2 ideas for theta. Right here. Here's your 2 ideas for theta. 2 very bullish ideas. Okay. So the idea here is shoulder, head, shoulder. So that's idea number 1. Adding to idea number 1, you have a 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 5. And that would complete the shoulder. That's idea number 1. Idea number 2 is we have an A, B, and a C, which would also constitute as a shoulder. And then we go up in 3, 4, 5. Okay? So very bullish, guys. This is like the perfect storm of perfectness when it comes to Bitcoin. I mean, I'm so happy that Bitcoin broke out because that gave us the 5th wave. I'm so happy that Bitcoin is so far away from the bull market support band. I'm so happy that theta broke out in its Wyckoff accumulation pattern down here. And I'm so happy that it broke above the bull market support band. I'm happy that it back tested the bull market support band. I'm happy that it's creating an inverse head and shoulders. I'm happy that it broke above the downward resistance line and also back tested it. I'm happy that the MACD had a bullish crossover. I'm happy that the Lucid SAR, right? The EMA ribbon, the TD sequential, right? There's so many things. I'm not going to get into all the oscillators, but you can see the RSI has room. I mean, just look at the monthly chart. You have this MACD crossover. You have the histograms green, right? All while what? Bitcoin is at its retracement levels and it's continuing to pump. It's at its retracement level. I thought it could probably range, but nope. It pumped up higher and now it's probably going to range. So I said either way, we're probably going to range, right? So let the ranging begin. And now as we range, theta can catch up. Now let's say Bitcoin doesn't range, right? I mean, look at the monthly chart on Bitcoin. You could see a massive bullish crossover, histograms pointing green. So we have a lot of room to go to the upside. So let's say, now this comes to the ultra bullish scenario. So here we go. Here's the ultra bullish scenario, which means that we don't get ranging for the altcoins to catch up. Instead, we get a breakout, and then that causes the alts to catch up in a sort of different way, right? So how is that going to look? Okay, check this out. Here's the other ultra bullish idea, and I actually kind of like it, and I'll tell you why. Because in order to understand it, we have to look back at the other bear market. So it wouldn't be this bear market because we went up super fast. We hit the 618 and we got rejected. This is different. This is like we're ranging, we break out. We're ranging, we break out. We're ranging, So what is identical to that? That's this one right here. Check this out. We have let me actually do this. We have the bear market, right? And then we go down into a range. We break out and then we go into another range. Then we break out again and then we go into another range. And then we break out again and then we rip it to the upside into a new bull run, right? So let's see. Let's take this. Where was the 618 during this time? Would you look at that? Would you look at that? We pinpoint perfectly hit the 618 right there. Boom, look at that. But what happened after we hit it? We had a big three-way pullback and we back tested the previous range, and then we went on and we ripped it to the upside. We broke above this right here. We broke above, then we back tested that. It's all about breakout, back test, go. Breakout, back test, go. Right? That's the most bullish environment. Okay, so we hit the 618, right? So now let's look over here. Let's see if that's similar to what we're seeing now. Okay, well, look at this. Look at that. We hit the 618 here, and then we pulled back massively. So you could see we hit the 618 right there, and then we pulled back all the way massively, right? Kind of like the same thing back over here. We hit the 618, we pulled back massively, right? But this one was actually a lot bigger, and we back tested. So if I take this wick right here, we actually back tested it pretty nicely, right? So if I go back over here, and then I zoom in a little bit because you can't really see the range that well. I would have liked this correction to come all the way down to backtest 31K down in here, but it didn't happen. Instead, it actually backtested this little range right in here. Okay, so let's go back here now, go back to the weekly chart, and now we'll tie it all together in a thing that makes sense. So just like the other bear market, right? had the bear market, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what do we have? We have our first range. Boom. We break out. We go into a second range. Boom. And then we break out again. Now, here's the big thing. Where does the third range end? Right? If we're going to break out into a new all-time high, then so be it. But if that needs to happen, we don't have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. What do we have? We have reaccumulation, reaccumulation, reaccumulation. So in order for the price to break out, you kind of want to see it top out at maybe between 57 and 52, and then go sideways in here, right? So now when I zoom in all the way out, look at what's happening. Look at that. Look at that. You could see it perfectly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, range. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, range. Then we break out into the second range. Same thing here. We break out into the second range. We go sideways. Sideways is good. Sideways develops a base. The bigger the base, the higher in space, right? Then we break out again and go into another base. Same thing, what's happening now. Now, granted, we haven't established where the base is at yet, but one can imagine, right? It's probably, you know, somewhere in here. And I could be up all the way up to there too. So somewhere around in there. So what do we want to see happen? Well, we want to see, you know, Bitcoin's not going to just go straight out. I mean, obviously it could, right? It could do that. But usually we're going to get up here somewhere in the 50K area, and then we pull back, right? And then we come back up, and then we pull back. Now, here's the thing. Does that turn into a big bull run? It totally could. Or does it turn into reaccumulation and then we break out? Either option is valid. Why? Well, because rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? But when you stand back and look at it, so for example, this was what? A rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. But the velocity in which this wave went up was pretty big, right? So the velocity in this wave was much more stable, right? We had a you know, a range. We had another range. We had another range. It went up slower, methodically. It went up. It gave more people time to accumulate, right? It built a base, it broke out. It built another base, it broke out, right? So this is actually a really, really good thing because this bear market, this recovery is looking a lot like what's happening now. So maybe my primary idea isn't going to play out, which I'll be totally fine with that, because then it would be like this, right? It would be, you know, because in order, you have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? So if we go into a reaccumulation, that's the whole point. But if we don't need reaccumulation, if we're accumulating in here, breakout, accumulating in here, breakout, accumulating in here, breakout, right? So we have plenty of time to accumulate. So that means we don't have to come down to go into reaccumulation. Now, all of this is just theory-based, right? We don't know what's going to happen. But here's what I want you to take away from this video, is the altcoins. Right, going back to THETA. And I want to get this video under an hour. So let's top out somewhere in here. We'll pull back, you know, we'll range in here. As we range, we catch up in a big way. So that's it. That's basically, you know, nothing's changed. Although, you know, Bitcoin did hit 50K, and that's a big thing. It's a big headline, right? And that's actually very bullish. And I'm happy that it took out the high, right? Now a lot of people, but I want you to be cautious. I want you to be very, very cautious, because just because Bitcoin took out the high doesn't mean it's going to keep going, right? If you look at the zoom in here, right? Expect pullbacks, because if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to get a 4, 5, or it could be an A, B, C, right? It could be a W, X, Y, right? A W, X, Y, and then we go, right? So I'll update as the progress goes along. But you know, those are my ideas now. I'll probably get another altcoin video out today or tomorrow, and we'll talk more about it. But I'm trying to get. It's hard to do it all in 10 minutes, so I apologize for that. It's hard to explain myself super fast, you know. So I have to sort of go through the whole process. And if you've seen the videos before, then you know. You already know it, but I'm trying to grow my channel. I'm trying to get more subscribers and get more information out, right? So if I did it based on people already who know the information, then it kind of does. That's why I encourage people to go back and watch previous videos so that they can kind of see. But as far as the new fresh information goes, the fresh information is we officially have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is new news. That is fresh news, right? Which means what? Which means this is a trend. But it also could be the end. And why do I say that? Well, because if you look here, what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're in the fifth of the fifth. And what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, so far, all it is an A, B, C. So if we want 5 waves on the macro front, we have 5 waves here. But I'm saying on the macro, if we want 5 waves on the macro, then what do we need? We need to range in here, A, B, C, right? And that gives us a range. And then we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that, my friends, would be like the best case scenario, because then that would mean what? That would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, then we get 5. And then once we get, so for example, if this is like the best case right here. Obviously ripping to the upside, but chances are that's probably not going to happen. So if, for example, theta is here, this is how we get a new all-time high for theta. Not just a retracement, but a new all-time high. So for example, Bitcoin corrects into wave 4. We have 1, 2, 3, and now we're correcting in a wave 4. So instead of distribution, it's consolidation for a wave 4. As we consolidate, as we go up and down, that's when theta catches up. Then Bitcoin, you know, it's correcting, we correct. Then Bitcoin breaks out into another 5th wave. That's when we can get a big wave for theta, right? So it'd be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we'll talk more about that as the time goes on. But let me take everything off the screen here. So yeah, that should do it for this video. A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it's an A, B, C, then we have distribution. If we have distribution and we oscillate in distribution, then we can catch up. If this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, then we consolidate. If we consolidate, we can still catch up, right? And I'm expecting the price of theta, because when you look at the price of theta, or let's look at the price of theta fuel. Let's look at the price of theta fuel. You could see, look at that. Perfectly at the bull market support band. It went under it a little bit, but now it's starting to pump up. You can see a beautiful range right there. So Bitcoin's up here. We have a rise, crash. Now we're in the bottoming structure. We need that retracement. Since back over here, I've been calling for a retracement publicly. So look, for example, if you look at Link, It's the same thing. Look at Link. Link already did it, right? So you see what happened with Link. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And if you look at total 3, right, it's sort of in the midway. If you look at theta, it's the same thing, kind of like Link, but we haven't broken out yet, right? So here's your range down here, and Link is sitting way up here. So where do you think theta is going to go? Theta is also going to get really, really bullish and get up here. And same for, you know, XRP and things like that. But I didn't get too much into the details on the small time frames on theta. It's just not a lot of time. But you can see we pulled back, we tested the bull market support. Now we're starting to pump up. This is a good thing. So like I said, A, B, C, then we go, or A, B, C, then we go. Either way, we're gonna go. I'd kind of rather it to go now. That way we don't have this sort of shoulder, head, and then another shoulder, like a head and shoulders pattern. So we'll see how it develops. But this is a good milestone. Expect a pullback. Expect the altcoins to start catching up. Expect you know, some good things, but just be cautious, right? Don't get overly bullish. For me, if you're going to be overly bullish and you're going to position yourself, definitely do it in the altcoins, not Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is at a dangerous level, and that's what we want. We want Bitcoin at a dangerous level, because in that level is where we range. In that range is where we catch up, and it's all about catching up, right? So that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. My next video will probably be well, let me know. Comment below in the comment section. I'll probably get an XRP video out. I haven't done that. Maybe XLM, Theta Fuel. Yeah, there's a lot of different coins. I haven't looked at Algorand in a while. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you can, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe, and even a comment for the algorithm, and just keep in mind, you know, when everybody was up here, a lot of people were bullish, but I was one of the few that was calling for a flat, which is an A, B, C, right? The reason why I was calling for that was because the bull market support band, and then also the Wyckoff accumulation, right? So when you look at Wyckoff accumulation, you know, we have this spring here, but then we also have this pullback phase, right? And that's why I was thinking, okay, we're probably going to pull back deeper because of this reason right in here. So you can see the spring, we have this spring. We took out the low, we took out the low. We have this move up, we have this move up, move down, move up, down, took out this low, came back up, developed the spring, came back up. Here's the spring, grab the liquidity, grab the liquidity. This is where my video started going live, right here, because I identified this is probably a good time to start. If I'm going to be creating content, this is probably a good time, because we're at the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of this sort of move that is potentially on the horizon. And so far, so good. It's been great. So we got back up to the top of the range thus far, right? We back testing this area, right? So something like this, and then we go. So that's still what I expect. Why do I expect that? Because if you look at the rest of the market, doesn't it just look like she needs to do this, right? We have this big bull run. We have this big crash. We have this big base. This big base is not going to go wasted. It needs to get up here. And then once we're up here, then we can figure out, are we going to come down, go sideways, and break out? Are we going to consolidate and then go down for an A, B, C, which I don't think so? Or are we going to, you know, continue to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So cup and handle, something like that. So no point in talking about it now. I know I said I was gonna wrap the video up. Here I am still blabbing on about theta. Why? Because it's important to me, because obviously Bitcoin hit 50K, but I've tried not to make my channel about Bitcoin. It's not about Bitcoin. The reason I talk about it so much is because Bitcoin is the environment, right? So for example, if I'm gonna go hunting, right? Let's say I'm hunting for duck, and it's not about getting the duck, right? It's about the environment. Is it raining out? Is it snowing out? Is it morning time? Is it afternoon time? Is it foggy out? Is it, are there crocodiles out? I don't know. Like, I don't really go hunting, so I don't know. I don't do that stuff. But you see what I'm saying? It's not about the coin or theta. That's already set. We're good with that. It's about the environment that is needed for theta to perform, right? Because theta has everything going for it, right? Theta is like a trained athlete. So it's just ready to go. By the way, did you guys watch the Super Bowl? Did you guys like the game? Who were you guys going for? The Chiefs, the 49ers, or do you even care about football? I don't really watch it too much. I'm more of a supercross, motocross fan. I've been going to motocross, supercross for years, since probably 95, 96. I've been going to motocross, supercross races, so I'm more of a off-road type of guy. Not so much football, baseball, basketball, but I do watch it on occasion. You know, if it's good, like for example, the Super Bowl. So yeah, what do you guys like to do for fun? Just curious what you guys do out there. But yeah, I will catch you guys on the next one. It's been good getting this update. It just continues to validate what we've been thinking, what we've been saying. Yes, there's many ideas. Yes, many things can happen still. But we are on the right trajectory. We are on the right path. And the environment is getting better and better and better for theta. And not only theta, but a lot of the market. Just look at Total 3. Total 3 is the entire market, right? It's the entire market. And we can see that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4. And it looks like we're going to go into 5. Then we can probably get an ABC, meet up with the bull market support band, then hopefully get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 5, right? And that would be like a what? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, right, then we would probably go down into some type of reaccumulation where we do this and then we go. That's my main thinking here, or at least my hope. Now, of course, we can start doing that here and then go. But that last wave would actually be a little more beneficial. But either way, I'm happy. And hopefully you guys are happy too. And always mitigate your risks. Dollar cost average and always hodl. Don't get shaken out by crap. We're in an election year, so we could see cyber attacks. We could see all kinds of crap going on. But to me, it's all fear. It's fear driven, right? So the mainstream media it's all fear mongering. So just remember, you know, it's all fear, right? So we're in a good spot. And the new financial system, I believe, is being built out right before our eyes. And it's crypto, and then crypto is running parallel to what we have now, right? So at the end of the day, the good guys will win, and that's what I think. So, all right, guys, this is it for real this time. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.